This is the CodeX Report Part 2. I'm going to talk a little bit about Fukushima, and then I'm going to go on to some other stuff. I didn't mention in Part 1, Michio Kaku was on one of the TV channels, and he mentioned something about burying the site of Fukushima. And there are vast benefits to this plan, but there are some small drawbacks. The small drawbacks are the fact that there is so much contamination there that if you simply bury it, it will contaminate the groundwater. It will seep into the ground. It will contaminate the whatever you put on top of it. Um, so just burying it, I don't think is a feasible idea. Um, is burying it an option at some point later on, or once they have, put out the fires, shut down fully some of the things and whatnot? Yes, that is an option, and I think that is a definitely a viable option. But as far as immediate answers, what I, as I mentioned at the end of the last of part one, is the Japanese government needs to get literally as many people in there as they can possibly get, and literally have them spraying foam and just doing whatever they can. You know, if it's one guy running in and picking up one piece of radioactive material and throwing it into a wheelbarrow, and having another guy want to grab the wheelbarrow and run it to a lead drum so they can throw it into the drum, and then you have another guy come up and he does one more piece, and you have another different guy come up, and just keep doing that, and do like they did when they were at Chernobyl. Some of these guys worked, 15, 20 seconds at a time, twice a day. That was it. So, that's what you are going to have to do. Um, the situation has not very many realistic solutions, and I think that the only thing that is going to be a way to solve it is to just get and I don't want to see people go in there and die, but it's either, people go in and fix the problem and possibly die, or many, 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 possibly millions of people will die. And it's kind of a foregone conclusion that if it continues as is and nothing is done, that yes, millions, possibly billions will die. If you are on the internet, which if you're watching this, you most likely are, or you have access to it, go to Earthquake 3D. Search it on Firefox or whoever. It's This comes up with a little globe, and you can adjust it to anything from 1 day to 7 days, and it'll screen for size of earthquakes, and then you can adjust, like, if you want to see the axis, how deep it was, the magnitude. You can put like a bullseye ring around them. You can put globes, different things like that. It's a phenomenal little display, and you can have it a little globe rotating that is showing you. You have to update it every so often, at least with mine, and it shows you where every earthquake is that's recorded. And there are so many earthquakes right now that are happening in along the fault lines in California and off the coast of California. We had one in New Madrid. We had one in New York yesterday. Um, there were ones in the Mediterranean and in the Middle East. Um, there's we've got about 3 more days before we're out of this specific um, window. So hopefully nothing catastrophic, nothing else further catastrophic happens, but I wouldn't count on it. The problem being that there is, as I said, there's still 3 days, about left to go, and then there's a possibility of a 322 event. Um, there's nothing that I could refer you to say that that would be it, but it's just something that I feel is in the numbers. It's possible that they would try something. Um, the space shuttle. I was going to mention this in one of my videos. The space shuttle. I think something is going to happen. It is supposed to launch on April 19th. They had the first fatality that I've had in a number of years. I think it was maybe 19 or something. And if you're familiar with ritual alignments, Richard Hoagland, you'll realize 19 is one of those numbers that shows up. Um, this one is Shuttle Endeavour, and it's mission number 134. And if you look at the numerology history of things, 134 will correspond to the Cathedral of Light from the Nazis, from the Nuremberg rallies, and there's some odd correspondences with that. The the history that the Nazis and NASA have with different similarities in their programs, and the fact that so many Nazi scientists were co-opted into NASA and into the intelligence communities. Um, it's it's a too good to be true number correspondence, I guess you would say. There's too many things that tend to fall into the different patterns that these groups like to play with. So, for what it's worth, I think that there's a possibility something will happen there. Like I said, there's the 322, there's 419, 420. Another one that I've heard mentioned is 428 and Tambora. Tambora, I think, is in the Philippines, if I remember correctly. Massive, huge volcano. Um, the volcano, what's been going on is interesting also. You'll notice that around the Ring of Fire, there's, in addition to the earthquakes, there's volcanoes. I think that there definitely is a possibility that something definitely is going to be happening in the near future. Whether it's going to be within the next 3 days, whether it's going to be, on April 28th, the Tambora incident, I don't know. I'm not willing to make any predictions on that. I will mention that some people have mentioned that certain numbers that would signal certain events being more likely than on other dates are, of course, 9/11, the 420, 610 has been mentioned, 7/7/11 is a good one, 8/8, any of the double number ones. The thing is that this year, being 2011, 11 is the correspondence for magic and for duality. So when if you're using a number correspondence for any of this stuff, you're going to want to do it on those type of things. You're going to want to do it on like the 610. 610 is the sexagesimal system. It's the Sumerian mathematical numerical system. There's other things that correspond to 610 also. 7/7. It's just what it is. It's a double number. It could be 4/4. It could be 5/5. There's an infinite number of possibilities. It's you have to look at so many things to try and decipher things like this that trying to speak before an event is somewhat of an exercise in futility, because it is so easy to misinterpret things, rather than when you look at an event afterwards you can say, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened, and then you have this correspondence and this correspondence and this correspondence. So trying to predict events before they happen is it's kind of like herding cats. You may get one or two, but you're never going to get them all. So some of the other things that are going on right now, I think that Like I said before, the people of Japan, you are showing the world what a people can truly be in dire circumstances. Um, the Fukushima 50, you know, I don't even have words for what, you know, the admiration or the respect that I have. It goes so far beyond those two terms that, like I said, I don't have words. Um, it's the same thing with the ones that worked at Chernobyl. You know, they knew that most likely they were going to die, and if they didn't die, they were going to have horrible illnesses. Some of them they just knew that they were told to do, and they did it. So you know, whatever the story is, my hats off to you guys. Um, I think that there's not a whole lot else that I'm going to talk about right at the moment because, yeah, I think that's about it. Have some comments attached.